Okay, so we're going to take a look at EUR AUD. And you guys already know that I do a top-down analysis. So we're going to look at this and see what it's going to tell us for next week. The market is closed. So we'll analyze this to see what opportunities that may exist for next week. So let's do the monthly first. Okay. So Mr. Ali, walk me through how you would look at this chart as well.
I'm kind of just learning your style. I use moving averages though. And I use so I'll use the 200, and I think I use the 8 and the 14, which is kind of similar to what you do. And I just wait for the 8 to cross the 14 and go in the direction of. So I've been trying to learn, to some other things to go with it. So
Awesome. That's good stuff. Yeah, the 200 and the 50 moving averages are pretty much they correlate with each other. And then you got the 8 and the 14. I use a 9 and the 14, so we're pretty much doing the same thing. And then you wait, and then you're waiting for the my green line is a 9. Wait for the moving average, green line to cross over the 14 to try to find you a good buying opportunity. So that's good. You're on track. How often do you analyze the charts before you? Well, how long do you analyze the chart before you enter a trade? Would you say?
I'm more of a scalper, I guess. I'm on the 5-minute usually, with the hour, and then I try to get a sense for the direction. I also trade according to sessions too, so I only trade London and some of New York if I'm up.
Okay. All right. Well, the Aussie dollar, that market typically opens up at, I want to say 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So it's not going to move as much in the New York session or even the London session, but you want to catch it maybe at the open or midway through the session. That way you have some momentum, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so that's really good. That's a good pair to trade. Is this one of your favorite trade pairs?
Yeah, this in GU.
Yeah, GU. Awesome. Okay. And there is like a session chart that tells you the times of everything that's trading. Let me see if I can pull that up here really quick. It's called FX Hours. If you download FX Hours on your smartphone, it'll give you all the time slots per session. So let me see if my memory serves me correctly for Aussie. Yeah, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely catch it between those hours, especially in the beginning, because you'll notice that right before 5 p.m. it's in consolidation. Okay. And then right before it, and then right at 5 o'clock, it'll tend to trend higher or lower based on the momentum of it's opening up, because people are anticipating and analyzing the chart before the open of the market. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is a monthly. So what I like to do is just take a look to see what direction the market's going in. All right, so every candle, you guys already know, is a month in duration. A lot of activities going on in this candle, in these candles. But if we zoom out, let's see what's going on here. So in your analysis, would you say this is an uptrend or a downtrend? Or would you say this is
immediately a downtrend, but it's really going sideways? But I would say down if I had to.
Okay. Yeah,
Go
I
with the
okay.
recent buys.
Okay. I would agree with you because if I open this up, I'll notice that there's a pattern here. I don't know if you are noticing about head and shoulder patterns. Are you familiar?
Yes.
Okay. Because a head and shoulder pattern, and I'll draw it out for you guys. That way you guys know what it looks like off of the monthly here. Head and shoulder. So we have a shoulder over here. And then we have the neck, right? The head. Then it came down, gave us this shoulder on this side. And now it's trending lower. You see that?
Yep.
That's a perfect head and shoulder pattern. That tells you that, you know, the market's going to trend lower and it's on a downward trend. So this is a good pair to trade based on what you see here, because it already started to develop and trend lower. So all you really have to do is wait for your entry, right?
Right.
Okay. And then we see that the green line, which is my 14 moving average, has crossed over the gold line, which is a 14 moving average. So that's also a positive indication that it's been trending lower, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got two things going for us. We got the head and shoulders pattern. We got the green line crossing over the gold line. So all we have to do now is focus on entries, right? Where can we enter this market in order to grab some of these downward pips? Make sense?
Right.
Okay. So good stuff here. There's some good stuff here. Okay. So now we want to go down to a lower time frame. Let's go to the weekly and see what is going on. Yeah, it's being consistent. Okay, you got a low here, a lower high, then a lower low, and then you got, yeah, so it's still going down. So that's a pretty good indication that we're actually recognizing that this is a downtrend. The other thing you want to look at is over here on the high. We know that it hit its peak for that particular session. So what goes up? What's the saying? What goes up
Must come down.
exactly. Exactly. So we're on track. So now we're going to go down to the daily. Now this is a good trade to hold, buy and hold on sometimes. But if you want to just get in quick and get out, there's no problem with that as well. So yeah. So everything looks like it's going lower. Now see how it remember I said in past videos, past sessions, that you want to buy on a retrace. When it pulls back, you want to look for entries, not when it pulls lower, but when it pulls back. You see what is a pullback right here?
Yeah.
Okay. And what it does is retesting these lows that are on the left side. So that's a good sign. Okay. So now we go down to the 4-hour. All right. And everything is based on my lines. The green still cross over the gold line, which is still a good positive indication that it's trending lower, which is good, right?
Yeah.
And we go to the hour. And you see, I'm not even really marking it up. I'm just looking at it per time frame to see, okay, because I want to enter this trade, but I want to enter the trade on the 15-minute. Okay. Because the hour, if we go back to the hour, we're in consolidation, really. It's going sideways, right?
Right.
Okay. So when we say when it's going sideways, what are we saying? We're saying that it's in stage one, right? Stage one is consolidation stage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we wanted to, do the stage two, and then we wait for stage three, and so on and so forth. So let's see what's the 15 minutes is telling us. Yeah, we got some serious sideways movement. Okay. So we got, and normally I'll put a box around certain areas, like right here. Just tell me that it's in consolidation. It's bouncing off these lines. Okay. You could do it the wick, you could do the body. It's up to you. It doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure that, you know, you see what's going on inside this box. Because what was the rule? Never trade or never submit a trade in consolidation, because you're going to get stuck in this box. Does that make sense?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So we see that it's poking out of the box right here, which is a good sign. Because normally when you see something poking out, that's the direction the market's going to go to, right? Because we already know from the monthly, the weekly, the hourly, that it's a downtrend. So now that it's poking outside of the box, we can anticipate movement towards the downside. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So now we're going to grab our tool here, and this is what we need to be looking for. I'm on the 15-minute. We want to be seeing something like this, where it'll pull down, right? Then come back and touch the edge of this box and then go back down like this. Okay. And this is where you want to place your entry, on the retrace, on the pullback. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, hold on one moment. My cat is crying. Hold on. Let's see what's going on. Be right back. Okay, she's fine. She's fine. All right, here we go. So yeah, so this is what you want to be looking for. You want to be looking for a pull down, then back touching the box. Okay. All right. Now, and then once you see that happen, and you see a wick pull itself down, that's where you really want to enter the trade. Now, if it pulls inside of the box, again, you don't want to trade inside the box, okay? Because it might pull outside of this particular area, right? And what you really want to see, that it may go back and touch these levels here, okay? But you want to place a trade. Every trade should be placed underneath the box, okay? Because this is stage one. Stage two is going to fake you out, right? So we don't trade in stage two as well. So stage two would be like it's trying to go up and show you white candles, which are bullish candles. Then all of a sudden, then stage three will happen, and it'll continue its journey on a downward slope. Okay. So do you understand where I put the box, how I was able to find this box?
The consolidation.
Yeah. Just box it up. Right. Yeah. Because that's you're waiting for stage two. Right. And once you recognize what stage two is, you're going to wait for stage three, and you want to trade in stage three. Does that make sense? So you took notes on my stages in the.
Yeah, I did. I was familiar with, they call them all kind of those three stages. They got different names, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's names are different. I was watching this other guy the other day, and he named it something totally different. I was like, okay, but it's still three stages. But it all depends on how you look at it, right? Because here, now you notice I didn't put support and resistance levels, because again, if you haven't already read the book called The Naked Forex, I would recommend you read that. I'm on my second read already, and he just talks about reading the charts without putting anything on it, really, so you don't clutter up your chart. But if you look at this right here, which is all of this stuff is sideways, right? So you could really extend this box even longer and pull it all the way to the left, and you notice that it's really trading inside that box, right? Now, the only indicator, or the only line I really would put would be a structure line that tells me, hey, when this downtrend on the left side came down like this, you would notice that right here, it came down, retraced right here, and then came down again, retraced, came down. But this is a really significant structure area because it's on an area of resistance, if you want to call it resistance, right?
All right.
So when I put this structure line here, this is telling me that if any one of these candles over here on the left close above this line and comes back, touches the line and bounces off of it and goes up, at that point, the whole downward trend is now an upward trend. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, so if it doesn't violate this line and stay below this line, okay, and it bounces outside of this box, we could place a trade, although we don't know when based on timing, we don't know when my prediction is going to happen because this is all hypotheticals, right?
Right.
Because it may stay in this box for like minutes, hours. But once we see something like this, we want to anticipate taking a trade on a downward slope. Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's follow it for next week and see if, what I just said actually develops and turns into something positive. Because if it does, it would be a great trade. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right. So how many trades have you placed on this last week?
I trade every day. So yeah, I trade basically every day. Like I said, I basically out and
okay.
It was a decent week. Friday was choppy, but other than that, everything else was pretty good. Tuesday was a little slow, but everything else was good.
Okay.
Everything else was trending. So
that's good. That's good. Well, my philosophy is when you have more blues and reds, you're in the right track. If you're getting more reds as far as your trades, if you find yourself in closing out trades and for a loss, step away, recalibrate, rethink, and try again, right? Because the more you practice, the more you put in another trade, you get better at it. Because the chart the tends to repeat itself. Okay. There's another book that I'm going to recommend. It's called I'll pull it up here real quick. Let me show you this book. The Quarters Theory.
I use Quarters Theory on mine too.
There you go. This is a phenomenal book. I have yet to finish it, but I'm on chapter 1. The Quarters Theory by Wiley. He talks about the market trades in quarters. There's 4 quarters, and each quarter will equate to 1,000 pips, right? It's just catching the quarters. It's called the quarter theory. So this is a really good book. If you don't have a copy, let me know. I'll email you a copy of it because this is a website that I found that has a lot of free books or PDFs, and it's the actual book itself.
So yeah, can you email me that book?
Yeah, I can send it.
Naked Forex. I haven't read that one.
Yeah, the Naked Forex. I could send you that copy of that book as well. Just do me a favor, email me. I'll put my email in the chat real quick. Metro X Traders at gmail.com. Send me an email and say, hey, send me the PDF books. I'll send you guys a copy of all this stuff. So you have the Candlestick Bible, you have the Naked Forex, and you have the Quarters Theory. Those 3 books will put you on the path to becoming a master trader, profitable trader, disciplined trader, and it'll help with philosophies as well. Okay. right. Okay, so this is my analysis for EUR AUD for next week. I anticipate it to continue to trend lower. I'm waiting for this box to be violated. We already got a push outside of the box, which is telling me that if it comes back and retouches the box, you look for entries, right? Look for entries. 5 minute, 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute is a lot of activity going on. And yeah, if you're a scalper, you want to definitely get in and out based on these candles, right? Right. Because yeah, it trades really rapidly during these time frames. Excuse me. But yeah, hold on. Okay. So yeah, these are, you know, if you would have caught this movement here, you could have got a quick scalp, right? But never trade against the trend, because yeah, it kind of like throws you off, so to speak. Although you may see this right here and you say, you know, let me get in for a couple of pips, right? And you may profit from this little run right here. But if you know the overall trend is the downward trend, why not try to capture more pips than just a few pips? Does that make sense?
Right.
Because if we were to capture this trend based on what I wrote in here, if I open it up and go to like the 4 hour, right? I want to see where is the support level, because I want to place a trade and set my take profits on the next level of support. So if we were to try to figure where the next level of support is, we'll have to look left, right? We got to look left to see where the candles or the wicks touch more than anything, pretty much. So we could say right here, right? This is a level of support because there's a lot of crossover. A lot of the candles have touched that line multiple times, right?
Right.
Okay, so if I'm going to take it down, if I'm going to place a sell trade, I want to set my take profit at the next level of support, which is right here, right? And then, you know, your stop loss would be above this line, because if you're not right, you want to make sure that, you know, if you're not right, you're out of the market, because this line was my level of structure, that if anything closed above that line, I went out of the market anyway. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from here to here, we could say that, let's see how many pips that would be here. Let's see if this will give me the duration of pips. So 50 pips or so, right?
Yeah.
50 pips. That's not a bad trade.
Well, that's a good trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really good trade. Depending on your lot size, you could make a nice handsome sum going forward. So definitely good stuff, brother.
Thanks.
Did that help out a lot?
Oh yeah, helped a lot. Yep.
Okay. All right. Did everybody get it, or did anybody want me to review anything what I just shared? Shannon, Elena.
No, that was pretty interesting though to see you analyze with the box and make determinations based off of that box and when not to trade. So I'm always fascinated by stuff like this. So it's interesting.
Awesome.
I learned something.
Go ahead, Shannon. I'm sorry, Shannon. What'd you say?
Oh, I just said I learned something too, and I said thank you because
okay.
I'm used to looking at this pair, but it gives me another perspective on just I can just take this, you know, and apply it to anything, and it's really not about the pair; it's how you analyze.
Correct. Right. Because I do the same exact thing on every pair or indice. I mark it up the same exact way. Okay. All right. So Elena, just practice, practice, practice. Shannon, practice, practice, practice. And I don't want to mess up your first name, Mr. Ali. So how do you pronounce it?
Jabril. Jabril.
Jabril?
Yes.
Jabril. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir. Jabril. All right. So yeah, that's what I do. Hopefully it helps you guys out because you saw how simple I kept it. Okay. I'm not putting a tons of lines, I'm not using a ton of indicators, you know, although you could put a bunch of stuff on here. You could put the EMA, which is this blue line. You could put this trend line breaks, you could put all kinds of stuff. You could put the top bottom, and yeah, but all that stuff is noise to me. It's like, I don't really need to see all that stuff sometimes, right? Because I want to trade price action, not so much indicators. Because an indicator it records historical events. If there was an indicator that could record future events, we'll all be millionaires right now. Right? Okay, so moving on to US 30. US 30 was really, really interesting last week. Would you agree, Shannon? Can you hear me?
Sorry, my hands were wet. Yes, it was very interesting. And yeah, I was able to learn from it seems like it's always in a downtrend, but it was in an uptrend. So I learned something different this week than I'm used to.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give you a good hint for US 30. Okay, you got
Okay.
your pad and paper ready?
I do.
Okay. Stock Watch, that news channel that just talks about the stock market all day long.
Yes.
Okay. At 9:30 is when the bell rings, right? For the
Yes.
New York session.
Okay.
Whenever you turn that channel on the bottom right-hand side, it'll show you the movement of the Dow 30. Okay.
Yeah.
So when the Dow 30 is green and it says the Dow's up, US 30 is going to be up.
Okay.
When it shows red, it shows that the Dow is down, US 30 is going to be down.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's the stock watch?
Stock Watch, I think, is on over here. It's on channel 41, but it's the only channel that really talks about financial news.
Okay.
On the cable channel. Yeah, they start like 6 o'clock in the morning and they end all the way out to like 8 o'clock at night. But that's all they really talk about is the stock market. And the bell, they do. They show the stock exchange, New York Stock Exchange, and people ringing the bell at 9:30.
Yeah.
So find that channel and
Okay.
just put it in the background every now and again, because it'll show you what the Dow is doing, because the US 30, it mirrors the Dow 30.
Right.
Okay, so when the Dow is up, the US 30 is up. So last week, as you can look at the chart here, last week the Dow was up because a lot of the companies within the Dow reported positive earnings.
Yes.
Okay, so when that happens, everybody's excited, everybody made dividends, the stock goes up, people want to buy the stock, so on and so forth. Okay, so that's a good little fundamental hint for the Dow US 30.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, you guys write that in your notes, because that's what I do. I wake up, turn on the news, and I see, okay, the Dow is green. Let me look at the chart. Sure enough, the Dow is up. US 30 is up.
Okay.
Okay.
Good info.
All right. So Once again, we're looking at the US 30. Okay. I'm going to stop recording here because I want to save this training for next week, but I want to share it with you guys anyway. So if you're watching this on YouTube, come back next week.
Helpful.
All right, hold on one moment.